This is all probably live right now.
Sure.
Oh,
hey,
we're
we're
live.
live. There we go. Cold opening just the way
Love
we
'em.
like it once again. But here we are for the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball show. No, people. It's a cold opening. It's the NFL show. What do you think? We're going nuts over here on a Friday. The information never stops, and we're here to talk some football like we always do on Fridays. Both myself, Donnie and also Kyle Purviance, the NFL team here on sportsbookreview.com. Cold openings, sensational, Kyle. That's how you know we're ready for this one.
Oh, I'm totally ready. And the beautiful part, too, like sometimes the call freezes some, so I don't even know when you're done. So it's going to be a cold opening, a cold seconding, thirding, fourthing. I don't know what the hell's going on. But we love the NFL, obviously. We're working for the weekend. I'm excited to talk some football. And, hey, it's this is going to be fun. I don't even know. I'm looking at the list on the side, and I'm pretty sure that is not the list we're going over today. So ignore the list on the right side. Don't you guys worry about that. We'll just lead you through where we go. This is why Donnie's the pro of pros. We'll get through it.
The good part about this, too, because I have the list up here, so I'm going to drag us through, but it's pretty funny. I wasn't even really paying attention. I saw the tagline that said, Watson to the Broncos. I went right to my sheet. No, wait a second. I'm not so sure that's the big scripting up here, but we'll see. We'll have some fun here. So disregard that on the side. We do got some fresh topics that we can get after, but you know what is also fresh? 86,700 people now have hit that subscribe button for us on SBR. Thank you guys so much for doing that. And look, we just went live on a baseball show. We had some soccer earlier, NBA action. Whenever we get after it, UFC, we have everything programming-wise you guys need to be a better gambler here at sportsbookreview.com. If you have any questions or taking a look at some NFL offseason rumors, you want to see some write-ups, maybe some people taking futures, look at the link below, sbrpicks.com/NFL. So let's get to it today. Now, you saw the thumbprint coming in, or the thumbnail, and it was Aaron Rodgers. So that is obviously going to be the topic of the day for us here. Interesting news coming out, Con. The reason why we bring this up, because in the offseason, this show is designed to sort of have a, circle around the wagons here on Friday. What happened the past week? How can we move forward? Because we don't have any games. We have barely OTAs. And if there are OTAs, they're not letting any information loose. And they're telling their players, Kyle, hey, don't worry about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're off until training camp. Have no idea why OTAs is even a real thing here. But looking at Aaron Rodgers and Jay Glazer's report saying he's dug in, he doesn't want to come back, he's not going to play. I call bull on that, Kyle. I just do. He's going to be a Packer.
Oh, man, I don't know. See, I've always been a little skeptical on this, and I think it's funny that the GM, whatever they have running this team, says, oh, he's a complicated fella. You need to get your ass out there and say, he's the most wonderful man I've ever known. We want him to be the quarterback. Mm-hmm. I don't know why the Packers are playing games with it. Do they believe in Jordan? The only thing that I can think of is they must really love what they're seeing out of Jordan Love, pun intended.
Ridiculous.
I just don't know what the Packers are doing. I understand what Aaron Rodgers is doing. He should be. The Packers are my least favorite franchise in all of football. It's not even close. And I'm coming from a 49er fan who dislikes the Seahawks a great, great deal. But the Green Bay Packers, pretty much all teams in Milwaukee, the Bucks, the Brewers, the Packers. If you're from Wisconsin out there, I do not like your sports teams. I just can't stand how they're ran. I just don't get it. They're always all overrated. I hope Brooklyn smashes the Bucks. Sorry, Milwaukee fans.
I'm angered here.
I don't like Wisconsin teams. I don't like how they're ran, and I don't know what the hell the Packers are doing. I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers here, now it becomes a point of pride, right? And he spoke his piece. How can he show up and say, like, oh, things turned out the way I wanted them to turn out if he comes back? He's sort of putting himself in a position here where if he wants to keep his man card, he's going to have to hold out. This is a weird situation. I'm going to say he's not the starter in week 1. That's what I think. I don't think he needs the money. He certainly doesn't need the fame. And right now, if they're going to continue to piss him off, I don't know that he shows up week 1, and I don't blame him. The Packers stink. That organization stinks. The fans are silly with your stupid hats. Get the hell out of here, Packers. I'm down on the Packers, and I think you see Jordan Love week 1, and that Packers line is going to change because they're going to get spanked. They're going to get spanked without Aaron Rodgers.
I don't believe it. And look at this. You have the two-man profile setup right now. So when you take a look right here, is we're going to update the current drop-down box, which these guys are on it behind the scenes. Hey, man, mistakes happen when we go live. Look at it, correcting it on the fly. But I got to tell you, like, we're looking real, like two good-looking guys here talking football here on a Friday, Kyle. I got to say, man. HD in effect. Maybe it's Jason Radowitz that throws us off here on the Major League Baseball show. Just got to cut him out, put us in the middle, and, it's some fun here. Hopefully he watches the show and gets that kickback here that we're giving to him. But Aaron, back to Aaron Rodgers here. I don't know where he's going. When does the move get made, Kyle? Like, you have to get in, learn your playbook, and play football. And is Aaron Rodgers working out? I'm sure a world-class athlete is doing it, but I don't hear anything like, hey, Aaron has his own group of wide receivers he's throwing to. Is he really just hanging out in Hollywood with Shailene Woodley and going and hanging out with Miles Teller in Hawaii and enjoying his time, and he's just going to show up like 30 pounds overweight like James Harden did and said, I want to be traded. Look how fat and out of shape I am?
Maybe. I guess. The problem is it's weird now because I guess if you're trading him, you're assuming their first-round picks aren't going to be very good. Their second-round picks aren't going to be very good. This should have been done before the draft on draft day, and it's very clear to me that this didn't come out by accident, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers, for some reason, likes Jay Glazer, who I find to be just horrific to watch and listen to. There's very few sports announcers who bug me more than Jay Glazer. Man, it's weird. For me, I just can't see it. I don't think Aaron Rodgers, if I double down on something so hard, are you really going to backtrack the other way when you're a guy like Aaron Rodgers with the sort of alpha male, I'm in charge type of mentality? It's going to be really hard for him to go the other direction. The only way I can't see a deal getting done because who has what to offer, and the salary cap's a little bit lower. This year, of course, it'll go up in 2022. How's it going to work? So it's really complicated to get a deal done. I'm telling you, this could be a Carson Palmer situation where he doesn't play the entire year because I don't see how he could say everything that he's saying, put this out there through Jay Glazer, say, listen, I want you to tell everyone. This wasn't Jay Glazer backstab. This wasn't a Shannon Sharp, Julio Jones type situation here. This was, hey, tell them I'm not coming here. He says it. I don't know what the Packers' leverage is. I'm not sure what Aaron Rodgers' leverage is anymore. This is going to be this is a really weird situation, and it has Carson Palmer with the Bengals written all over it, in my opinion.
It'll be an interesting one to watch because if we're taking a look at futures here for the NFC Championship, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 310, 49ers at plus 600, the Rams at 650, the Green Bay Packers sitting back at 850. One would have to believe that they are hanging their hat saying, well, we can't put it at 5-1 ahead of the 49ers and in second place because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play there, that's a ridiculous number. And we can't put it down at plus 1,800 like the Vikings because if Aaron Rodgers does play, we're going to get hammered and people would have guessed right. I'm going to guess that he's in there, and they're sort of hedging the market just a little bit on that end of it. But this looks like a saga that's not really going to play out quickly. But I know how it ends. I know how it ends, Kyle. Here's what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers will play week 1 for Green Bay. He'll come back and he'll look the cameras stone in the face and lead you to believe that you guys are idiots out here. I never wanted to leave the Packers. No, I have no idea where you got it from. Hey, Aaron, you did like 16 press conferences. You went on multiple shows saying how much bad you wanted out and you're enjoying your time. I don't know where you're getting that from. Look, I don't even talk to my mom, dad, or family. So, I don't know where you guys are getting this from. And that's what basically it's going to come down to. But just keep putting the quick bow on Aaron Rodgers. I still think he stays, but that saga is going to continue. Don't be surprised next week, the following week, 3 weeks after this, when we're doing the show on Friday to hit some topics here in the NFL that we're still going to be talking Aaron Rodgers. Let's slide the needle down one step here and talk about the Titans here because this is one of the teams obviously hot in the offseason, and we don't get to see them in practice. We don't get to see them in games. There's barely any information flowing because why? We're all waiting for training camp and the preseason to begin before we can gauge some interest. But I have to tell you, I'm looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook right now just to get some odds. Last week when we were doing the show, going over a couple of Julio Jones props and, seeing what's going to take place with those new fresh numbers, the Colts now pulling ahead here at plus 110 at FanDuel, and the Titans back to 115. Just last week, both of those guys were on an even pace, both of the teams, plus 115 and plus 115. So looking at the Titans futures, just to do a recap, I know last week we talked about them in the division. I still think it's a Colts division, but now slightly behind them are the Titans, and then market differences here between the Jacksonville Jaguars at plus 700 and the Houston Texans at plus 2,700 here. I'm still going with the Colts at this point, but it seems like every week we're going to go back and forth on this stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And I like the Titans. I know from the beginning of the offseason shows that we started, I've liked the Titans. And look, they needed another receiver. And Lord knows that I've given Julio Jones a bunch of grief for being completely unreliable on the field in terms of just being available. And we do it almost every week, right? Like, okay, we're going to get one 36-yard catch. He's going to jump up. He's going to land. He's going to be hurt. He's going to hobble, and he'll be a decoy for the rest of the game. And Russell Gage is going to have to come in, and Olamide Zacchaeus is going to have to come in. And
Virginia.
Yeah, exactly. And look, so they did the right thing. They had to replace Corey Davis. We know that. We know that defense needed an overhaul, which what they sort of did. I know they added Bud Dupree. We'll have to see how healthy he is. Then they got rid of 3 talented corners and brought in 3 also talented corners. So the key for the Titans here, I know the line moved. It was 33-1 for them to win the Super Bowl last week. Now it's 25-1, or before the Julio Jones trade anyways, was 33-1. Now it's 25-1. I don't think Julio Jones is worth that price. Really, for me, the key factor is, are the Titans going to win the division? Can the defense play? And how is Carson Wentz going to play for the Colts? And we both have been on record saying we think this is a good move by the Colts. We think he'll play well for the Colts. But that's going to be the determining factor. That's what makes it so hard to bet on the Titans. I do think there's worse teams at worse values than the Titans. I don't mind the 1,200, the 12-1 for the conference. It's going to be tough to get past Kansas City with that defense, but we know they've got elite receivers. They've got very solid quarterback play. They have a solid coach. It's just, can that defense? I mean, they were historically bad in terms of pass rush last year. The key factor for the Titans, can they get to the quarterback and let that running game with Derrick Henry, that unstoppable running game, actually be effective? It's hard to be effective when you're giving up 30 points a game.
Odds are quite interesting here in the AFC. Now, the reason being, obviously, we know Kansas City Chiefs plus 260, far and away, to me, the best team in the AFC. The only thing they needed to do was rebuild their offensive line, and they did it with style and grandeur and paid a lot of money. I think it's going to pay dividends here, because if you rewatch the Super Bowl, if they had a good offensive line that was able to block, they would have won the Super Bowl. How can you say that, Donnie? They've got blown out. Trust me, if you're getting pressure from 4 guys the entire play, no offense is going to be able to operate at that point. Buffalo Bills plus 600, the Ravens at 650, the Browns at 850, and check this out. The 5th place team here, odds-wise, the Denver Broncos at 12-1. That's not because Drew Lock is starting. That's because, again, we just talked about the Packers. The Denver Broncos, it's known, they want a quarterback. They want Aaron Rodgers. They're calling the Green Bay Packers. If they can't get him, you know where else they're calling? The Houston Texans to try to get Deshaun Watson. That's why they're at 12-1, not because Teddy Bridgewater is going to start or Drew Lock is going to start there. The Colts at 13-1, the Dolphins at 14-1, and then you also get the Titans here at 14-1, who I do think have some value. Why the Dolphins are 14-1 at this point? I don't know where we get that, because you could say, well, wait, the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC East. They're going to make the playoffs and get a home playoff game. They're not the best team in the AFC East. Heck, I even think that if New England can somehow figure out their quarterback position, and we'll talk about Mac Jones in just a few moments, I think they're actually better than the Dolphins as well. And they got Bill Belichick as their head coach. So we'll see how it plays out. But looking at the AFC Championship odds here, I don't mind the 14-1 on the Titans here, Kyle. I don't.
No, I completely agree. And when you look at those teams in that range, right, like the Titans are by far the best team in that range, right? In my opinion. And we're going to sort of touch on that Dolphins quarterback situation here later in the show. But no, if it's a do-or-die game and one team has to win, you're taking the Titans over the Dolphins, right? I mean, I think I am. I know the Dolphins' defense is certainly better, but Ryan Tannehill, and we've mentioned it on the DFS shows we did together and on the betting shows, I know people think he's mediocre, but he's actually been top tier in the AFC in terms of fantasy points, QBR, come from behind victories, touchdown to interception ratios, rushing yards by quarterback, third down conversions, all of these metrics. Ryan Tannehill has turned himself into a very solid quarterback. That Titans organization is headed the right way. It's just about that defense. But when you look at the teams there's certainly value on the Tennessee Titans. I've thought it from day one of the offseason, and I'll continue to believe it all throughout the season. Unless A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry go down, I like this Titans team.
No, it's certainly correct. And taking a look at some other odds here, which again, when you're looking at the odds, there's so many things that odds makers have to worry about. We just went over it, and I just told you in the AFC, the Dolphins are 13-1 to win it, and the Titans are 14-1 to win it at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Go to the Super Bowl championship odds. The Titans are 28-1, and the Dolphins are 30-1. So the Dolphins are favored to win the AFC, but not the Super Bowl over the Titans. It doesn't make any sense, but
no.
There it is where you want to shop around and try to find some inaccuracies that you can capitalize on if you wanted to take that. It looks like that one probably is going to make the most sense there. So Titans futures all the way across the board. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? No, I don't. But if they stay healthy, that offense looks like it's going to do some damage here, and you're getting a nice ticket around that 30-1 range, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. It's not always about these futures bets aren't always about, okay, is this definitely the best team right now? It's like, are you going to be alive in week 14 and week 15 and the Titans, I mean, taking injuries out of it and just taking it in a vacuum as you look, they're going to be alive.
Should be interesting as it plays out and see how we do in the end. But it's always, I always like to say this, like I'm a week-to-week, day-to-day handicapper. Like if you ask me, hey, Donnie, hey, you got any futures out there? They're all going to lose. They're all going to lose if I take them. Yeah. Hey, Donnie, what do you think about team totals for the game? I got you covered. For the season, I'm not your guy because I'm the guy that's out here saying, I think the Eagles won't win, over 6 games, and here the Eagles will be 7-1 after 8 weeks. I'm like, what hell do I know here? I'm cheering it on, having fun, but certainly looking forward to futures, which a lot of people get down in these markets. It's not one of my strengths here, but I do see big numbers on some decent football teams. Colts 25-1, and I know Kyle's going to like the Cowboys here, 28-1 to win the Super Bowl. If you put it in Kyle's terms, it should be 28-1 to win the NFC East with their head coaching staffs.
Correct. That's
we'll keep moving it down.
I mean, come on. The dumbest head coach to ever grow. Oh, come on. I love getting that in there. Just Mike, it's not on the sheet on the side there. Mike McCarthy, dumbest coach in NFL history. There we go.
Yeah, we're going to have to slide that in there to one of the bars later here. We'll keep moving down here on the list of topics that we have. Atlanta seems to be one of the topics we keep bringing up here in the offseason because it is quite fascinating to see how they're going to advance, run their offense, and also what their future holds, particularly with Matt Ryan at quarterback. So when we take a look at Ridley, all foot surgery, if you ask him that question, he says he's raring and ready to go. But I have to tell you, it's very interesting in the NFL. And the reason being the cap's so low this year, Julio Jones had to go because if he didn't, Kyle, they couldn't even pay their rookies that they're getting through the draft. That's how drastic the situation was for Atlanta. But if you would have lined up and said, okay, let's take a look at 2 tight end sets, 2 wide receivers, 1 running back. You would have had on one side Julio Jones, if he's healthy, Calvin Ridley on the opposite side, Hurst and also Pitts at tight end. Quite dynamic for Matt Ryan to say, you know what? I got an exciting offense with a lot of weapons, a lot of one-on-one matchups that my guys can win. But now you take Julio Jones away from that offense and you lean on Calvin Ridley as your number 1. He's a very good wide receiver. But now we're going to know truly if he's an elite wide receiver and a true number 1. Because regardless if Julio Jones was banged up or injured, the minute he came into the game, what did the defense do? 11's over here. 11's on this side. Double coverage. And Calvin Ridley just said, you know what? I got one-on-one over here. I'm going to eat this up all day long as the coverage rolls away from me. Now the coverage will roll to him. Maybe going to lean on those 2 young tight ends that they have to try to deflect the coverage. But he needs to step up this year as a true number 1 here for Atlanta.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be tough. Now, I will say it's going to be easier sledding for the entire wide receiver core because they massively upgraded their running back room by getting rid of Todd. I don't have an ACL Gurley and bringing in Mike Bell, who, I know he's not, or Mike Davis, excuse me, not Mike Bell. I'm thinking about 2010 Madden things here, but Mike Davis is a really solid running back and catch the ball out of the backfield. The dude is built like a linebacker. Nobody wants to tackle him. It's a huge, huge upgrade for the Falcons in the running game, and that could only help the wide receivers because maybe finally you have some play action passing in your offense. You finally have a running back who safety's like, we may need to help in the run. You didn't need to do that with Todd Gurley. The guy's, slower than you and I are combined. I mean, not even close. So Mike Davis is a big upgrade there. It's going to help Calvin Ridley. I do think Ridley's going to be overdrafted in fantasy football drafts. I do think he's going to be overvalued in DFS. Is he a very, very good wide receiver? Sure. Do I look? I mean, he's had practice being the number one. He's played with Julio Jones. Julio Jones is around for like 30% of the snaps. So it's not like he doesn't have practice at it. But he's a smaller, more, I would say he's a less explosive version of Antonio Brown, is sort of what he reminds me of. I'm not sure that he's going to be. I don't think you're going to be looking week 16 going, ooh, Calvin Ridley is going for the league lead in receiving yards. I'm not so sure about that. I don't know if I trust Matt Ryan all that much. I will say upgrade at the running game will help him, but I'm not a big believer in Calvin Ridley. I'm not a big believer in Matt Ryan. I do think he'll be one of those guys drafted in the second round of fantasy football drafts. And when you get to that week 12, week 13, week 14, where it's playoffs, where it's win or die, you may regret having Calvin Ridley as your second round pick.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. NFC South odds as we sit here listed. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at a minus 195. You get a nice price on those Saints out here, Kyle. Plus 320. Falcons 7-1, and the Carolina Panthers 11-1 coming into the season here. Let's slide it down here. Mac Jones and Tua struggle. Are we surprised by this? You saw the headlines. Tuesday, rainy practice for the Miami Dolphins. Tua threw 5 interceptions, which is hilarious to read because it's almost like saying a pitcher got rocked in spring training. And afterwards, it comes out and says, yes, because I'm trying to work on my circle change. It's not very good. I'm just learning how to throw it. This is the time when I throw it. So when you see 2 or 5 interceptions, what happens if he says, well, all I was doing was going deep and trying to give my guys a chance for the ball 50 yards down the field? It's not really that big of a deal because when you read it, it's like, oh, my God, like he's stepping back, Kyle, 3-step drop, flipping it over the middle, and the linebackers are picking him off because there's no idea what he's doing out here. So I do like the offseason where you don't get that context exactly what's happening, but also the same thing. I got to tell you, to me, and I stress this environment, Cam Newton's going to be the quarterback week 1 for the New England Patriots. And the thing that I think is so interesting about that is it almost seems to me like Bill Belichick is so diabolical that he sits at home in a dark room with like one TV and it's on like ESPN or NFL Live. And they just say like, there's no way you can win with Cam Newton as your quarterback. And he goes, I don't care if I can't. I'm going to try because it'll be my greatest conquering thing if we can win the division with Cam Newton. Like, and I told you so. I've won enough Super Bowls. Now I just want to win the division with Cam to rub it in your face. It doesn't make sense. So in order for the New England Patriots to move forward, I do think they need to start Mac Jones. But you have a ready-made team here. And all offseason long, and I get a lot of pushback on this, if you just would have picked up the phone out to San Francisco and said, Jimmy makes a lot of money. I got room under the salary cap. Let's work this out here. Jimmy comes home. You get out from under that huge contract. You got your rookie quarterback. Maybe get another veteran. But if Jimmy Garoppolo was the starting quarterback day 1, Kyle, week 1 here in 2021, the New England Patriots win the East. No, Buffalo. No. If Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy with that New England Patriots team, they're just short of a quarterback, Kyle, that can drop back and throw it 10 yards to a wide open player for them to win the AFC East. They don't have a quarterback. They're not winning the AFC East. But the comments that are here that make me laugh are Mac Jones and Tua are struggling. Number one, Mac Jones is a rookie. He's supposed to struggle. He's like at his 3rd practice in the NFL learning all the lingo. Is he supposed to pick it up right away? But Tua's 5 interceptions on a rainy Tuesday when all he has to do is come out and say, Kyle, like, we were just working on stuff. It's not a big deal. But the narrative is he has no idea what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, and that's a dumb narrative, and that means you don't know a damn thing about football. And it's funny that you bring up Jimmy Garoppolo because that's exactly the reference I'm going to go to. If you remember 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, Jimmy Garoppolo had been traded the year before to the 49ers. He got hurt, messed up his knee. Things weren't good. Then we got into the preseason, and Jimmy Garoppolo, it was the Broncos and the 49ers on Monday Night Football. Jimmy Garoppolo came out, threw 15 passes. I think he completed 2 of it. It was an abysmal performance. He threw 2 pick sixes. The Broncos blitzed the 49ers. It was preseason, and there it is. Oh, my God. Jimmy Garoppolo is not ready. What are the 49ers going to do? Well, what they're going to do is when the guy is healthy, he's actually fairly competent and accurate. They're going to go to a Super Bowl with a really solid defense, a solid running game, and just solid non-turnover quarterback play. And that's exactly what Garoppolo would give New England if he could stay healthy. And we've talked about it a lot. The 49ers' best chance, especially this year, is Garoppolo needs to stay healthy. Now, he's never proven he can do that. That's the problem. The 1 year he did, they went to the Super Bowl. So now you look at Tua. We're talking about practice in June. and you're starting to panic. First of all, let's not forget, for all you Dolphins fans who love to tell me how good this Dolphins defense is, and Xavier Howard and all these great players they have on defense. Now you're upset that your defense is playing well against a guy who's just trying to work on his first ever real OTA in the NFL. It is his first OTA in the NFL. He didn't have it last year. So I don't put a lot of weight in that stuff. I'm happy that it happens, because if he keeps doing it and that Dolphins number keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, we're going to find value. I mean, that's the bottom line. Until it happens under the big lights on the big stage in a real game, even if it's the preseason, you can't freak out. How many preseason heroes have we seen that turn into complete dog shit when the season starts? I wouldn't put a lot of weight into it, and I'm not surprised. The Patriots are just laughable. They do their best every day. Cam Newton's miles ahead of last year. Okay, so that means he can put his socks on. Because last year, I'm so shocked he could even put his socks on, because he's so incompetent as a quarterback. It's ridiculous that you think your team has any chance with that guy as your quarterback. But I do understand it, because I'm the guy that'll be on the putting green on 14. I'll have a 25-foot putt that moves 3 ways, and I'll bet the guy $20 I can make it. I'm a moron like that. Sounds like that's what Bill Belichick's doing here with Cam Newton. Mac Jones is going to have his struggles. All rookie quarterbacks do. I wouldn't freak out too much if I'm a Dolphins fan over Tua. Let him have an OTA. Let him get comfortable. And you nailed it right on the head. They're working on things that they're trying to improve on things. This isn't, hey, let's hone in our week 1 game plan. This is, hey, you struggled with this year or last year. Let's work on it. That's what you're seeing happen. Garoppolo on the 49ers 2 years ago is a perfect example.
No, I think you're correct. It'll be interesting as the summer goes along and how this plays out. But you remember last year, Kyle, after the first week, hey, Cam Newton probably should get some MVP votes. Look how good he looks. And then, give it a couple weeks and see how he really looks at this point. Yeah. But they win, but they're winning. That's the whole Alex Smith narrative. Look at his record, man. Well, look at the record of the teams that they actually had a good quarterback. They probably won Super Bowl. So we can go on those days all day long. Let's slide it down to Madden cover release. Here's the interesting part. I don't play Madden anymore. As a kid, absolutely phenomenal. Loved it in college. Loved it in my early, professional life, as I like to say. When you get a wife and kid and you actually get real jobs, you got to be on the air. You can't have too much time to play Madden football. The one thing that always irks me to this day is I know it's the 22nd edition of Madden, but the way it lines up with the year, it should be Madden 21, right? Oh, to 2021. It's Madden 22, and it always gotten them it's a year ahead of schedule, which is always kind of baffling here. But the two GOATs on the cover. No, we're not talking about Joe Montana because he's not one of the GOATs. You got Mahomes, who's already above Joe Montana on the list of GOATs. And you got Tom Brady, Kyle. What do you think?
It's just getting angrier and angrier as the day goes. So many apology tweets are going to be headed out of Donnie's Twitter eventually. He's going to have to apologize about Jordan, apologize about Montana, and I just... Yep. So it is true. That's always frustrated me about Madden as well. It's like cars, you're sitting there. It's June of 2021. They're
what year is it? I got a 23. Wait a second. It's 2021.
Yeah, I have a 2023 Dodge Dakota. And you're like, wait, how the hell did that happen? I'm totally confused.
I got a 2024 Ford Tempo over here, Come on.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But I got to say, I love the cover. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Cool.
I think it's brilliant. It's cool. The Madden curse has sort of been lifted over the last 5 years. That was always the big story, the Madden curse. And I could go back to Eddie George in 2001, to Michael Vick in 2003, and Dante Culpepper in 2007. I could go up and down the list of the Madden curses, and I, too, used to love Madden. I haven't played Madden in, it feels like a couple years. Once in a while, my son will throw it on, and I'll get a chance to play. But there's all these weird controls now, and I don't even know how to use the PlayStation 5 controller. I don't even understand how that shit works. I used to be really good at that damn game, but now I'm just mediocre at best. But it is cool. I mean, these are the two money makers, and they're not worried about the Madden curse anymore. We expect the Chiefs and the Buccaneers to be right where they were last year, which is in the thick of it come playoff time. I think it was a brilliant choice. I was worried it was going to be someone, silly coming from, actually, what would have been funny if it was Aaron Rodgers in the Packers uniform. Yeah,
put Peyton Hillis back on there.
Yeah, the Peyton Hillis. God, am I going to get a Julio Jones in a Titans uniform on the cover? Don't do that to me. I think it's a brilliant cover. It might be the best cover of all time, honestly. When you look back on it, 30, 40 years from now, wow, look at that. Mahomes versus Brady, the two GOATs. I would say, because Montana was, played before the Madden years, so he was never allowed to be graced on the Madden cover. But this will be the two greatest players on a Madden cover together of all time. Had it been Montana and Rice back in the 80s and 90s, of course, it would be the real GOAT, the man who plays through hypothermia, doesn't need Ray Wersching or Mike Kofor to kick field goal winners in the playoffs. Those were his kickers for those you old-timers. Those are old-time 49er kickers from back in the day. Joe Montana is the real GOAT, but I love this cover. Brilliant job by EA, the NFL, both of them. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's probably going to improve sales, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how that falls out, but it's just an interesting topic here in the offseason to see those two get together, and that's what they released as the Madden cover. Final thoughts today, and the reason why I brought this topic, because some kids are just so ungrateful out here. Now, Vince Wilfork,
story. I can't believe it.
Miami Hurricanes all-time great, first-round draft pick, an absolute stud for the New England Patriots, obviously playing with the Houston Texans as well. Probably gave his kids a life you could never dream of with everything they needed, but when you give an inch, sometimes you take a foot, and it's one of those where you can probably see, the kid doesn't amount to all that, because I didn't read the backstory, so I'm just going to conjecture here. I'm just trying to play it out as what my thoughts would be. Kid doesn't work hard in high school or go to college, thinks that his dad was rich and, hey, Dad, I want to buy this house or this car. Drop me like 40 grand. He's like, oh, no, I'm not doing this. And then goes in and takes some Super Bowl rings, memorabilia, sells it behind his father's back. How do you look your dad in the eye at this point? Vince Wilfork, he looks like a man of the people, as I like to say. Always grilling with the big suspenders. Looks like he's having a great time. As you know, Robert Kraft loved him. The Patriots loved him. The Texans loved him. And then you just see his son probably feeling like, oh, my dad's not giving me my $5,000 a month that he's supposed to give me. So let me just go take his ring and sell it somewhere.
I thought this was a heartbreaking story. And I tried to look back to see, did anyone ever suspect his son? And I would assume he didn't, because Vince Wilfork he got a message saying, hey, someone's trying to sell your Super Bowl ring online.
Yeah.
So he reports it to the cops. Then the cops find out. I mean, imagine not having you get something stolen from your house, valuable. Yep. And you're like, some son of a bitch stole from me.
Maybe had a party, or I can't believe somebody came into a party, just lifted it, man. What's up with that? His son was probably like, I don't know what's going on there. Who would have done that?
You're looking around, the last person I would look at would be my son. If this just happened to me, you're looking around which one of my friends is not my friends? Who in my family needs to be cut off? And then the cops go, oh, yeah, we got him. It's your son in your own home. That kid needs an ass whooping of epic proportions.
I think Dad's big and strong enough to do it, by the way.
I would think that Vince Wilfork would not be the dad you'd want to go tell, yeah, sorry, I stole from you. I would run. I'm not a fast runner. I'd have to kick off my shoes and do it barefoot to try to get an advantage. But I would run screaming and crying if Vince Wilfork was mad at me. Plain and simple. Imagine him being your father. I just think this kid's a little piece of shit. I mean, excuse me for my language here, but what a little piece of shit.
But he's older. He looks like he's older, though. How old is he?
Well, I don't know. He's a kid. He's a little. I think he's in his 30s, 20s or 30. 20s, 25.
Well, how's he in his 30s then? How old is Vince Wilfork?
Well, he must be 48 now or something. I don't know. Actually, I should look.
I think he's younger than me. I think Vince Wilfork's younger than me. Let me
look up.
Check here. I'm gonna go. Let me look up Big Vince right here. Let's see. Vince Wilfork. Let's see what 39. His age.
Oh, he's my age.
Yeah, 39.
Yeah, okay.
I got respect. The kid. He's got a 31-year-old son, but he's 39.
Okay, so his kid's got to be 16 or 18 or 19, same age as me. My son's 16.
He looks older though. Does it list it? Let me bring up the actual. This is great with live, video. Yeah. We can take a look. His kid's actually 23 years old, so he had him obviously young. But when I saw the screenshot, it was almost like, is Vince Wilfork 55? Because this guy looks like he could pass for 35. His son.
He's the same age. Yeah, no, he's the same age as me. That makes me feel a little bit old. But yeah, God, I just think. I just can't imagine what that must feel like for Vince Wilfork, and knowing the idea that he's got to be even more pissed. Dude, you knew I called the cops. You knew I've been looking for this, and there's an investigation. Why didn't you tell me before they caught you? Because I'm assuming Vince Wilfork probably doesn't want his son to go to prison for stealing his own ring. He should, and that's the problem with America, is these kids are too soft and too babied, and they get these goddamn participation trophies when they're 8 years old and can't field a ball in the infield, and we have to let them play for 2 innings in the outfield. It's absolutely ridiculous. This kid needs an ass whooping. I hope Vince Wilfork gave it to him. But I actually feel for Vince Wilfork. I can't imagine that kind of betrayal. That seems awful. That to me, that would just, even when my son like says something to me that's disrespectful, he apologizes a minute later, like, Dad, I'm really sorry. Stealing from me, I would cut his damn hands off. Honest to God, that kid would go around with nubs for the rest of his life. I swear to God, I would.
Yeah, it looks like it was 2 Super Bowl rings, 2 AFC championship rings, his 2001 Miami Hurricanes national championship ring, and also including necklaces, bracelets, and earrings. So clearing out Big Papa here right behind his back of all the – and the worst part about it, too, is sometimes, like, you have, like, nostalgic items. There's chains you could sell. You know, you're all iced out. That's fine. But some of that stuff is nostalgic. Like, you work your entire life to win a national championship in college, an NFL Super Bowl, and you get it sold. It's not like, hey, it's lost. Let me just get a replacement. No. It's like, you know, your wedding ring. You got married in that ring. You lose it. You get another one. It's not really the same thing because, you know, that nostalgia behind it. But that is what it is. I thought it was an interesting topic.
I've got the move. The last word I'll say on this. The move here is you blame the mother.
Yeah.
They're probably not together. Say, that's what I get for breeding with an imperfect woman, and you just blame the mother. That's what I would do. That's the Bachelor way to do things. Blame the mother.
Amazing stuff. Here's we'll wrap it up here on the NFL show for Friday. Weekly updates we give you right here at sportsbookreview.com with NFL action. Always keeping you in the know because before you know it, Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Thursday Night Football, opening up the season, full houses, full crowds, and getting it on. Cannot wait for this season in the NFL right here at sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. We're the sportsbookreview.com NFL team. Good luck on those future wagers, and we'll catch you next week.